everybody, and welcome to the first meeting of the Service Transformation Committee for Climate Change and Nature Recovery of this municipal year. I feel a bit lonely here in the room, but we've got plenty of people online. So we are, thank you everybody for coming. We'll just run through quite a brief agenda this afternoon. So are there any apologies for absence?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Apologies from Councillors Erica Kirshner, Angela O'Connor, Stuart Rice, and also from Andrea Lewis and Andrew Stevens.
Lovely, thank you. Are there any disclosures of personal and prejudicial interests that anybody needs to make? No, I'm not seeing any. Okay, lovely. And we've got two sets of minutes in front of us. The first is from our last formal meeting of the last municipal year, which was the 31st of March. Has everybody had a chance to have a look at those? Are we happy that they're a true record? I'm seeing lots of nods. Good. And then the second set of minutes is for the very brief meeting that we had after the annual council meeting, in which you very kindly elected me as chair again. So thank you for that. Are we happy that they are a true record? Yes, nods, thumbs up. Great. Okay. Lovely. Right then, so our next item is just for information, which is the terms of reference of the committee, serves as an annual reminder of what we're all doing here. And then we're going to look at the draft work plan. So that is on the last page of your agenda packs. So the draft work plan that you have in front of you is the collection of items that have either come up in previous meetings and we are looking now to progress those. And to take further updates on work that's already started, and in some cases bring a conclusion to some of that work. And then a couple of new items that have been suggested by officers and cabinet members as work that would value the input and the steer of the STC. However, I will preface this discussion by saying that the work plan is determined by committee members. So this is also an opportunity for you to make any further suggestions of items that you would like us to look at in the coming year, or indeed any areas of focus within the items that are outlined there in the draft work plan. I'm happy if members would like to ask about the specifics of any of the items that are listed there to do my best with the help of officers to answer those questions. So yeah, open now to any questions or comments or suggestions from yourselves. Thank you, Councillor Evans. Over to you.
No worries. I was waiting for somebody else to go first, but then I thought, oh, go on, I'll just bite the bullet. Yeah, so it's just a couple of suggestions, really. So I was thinking about the metro, but then there's a kind of there's quite a lot of sustainable transport things in there, so it might be a little transport heavy. So I was thinking maybe something to do around Blue Eden and how that's progressing might be something that we could look into.
Okay, thanks for those suggestions. In terms of the metro, I think we've got two markers in there to look at the sustainable transport strategy because last year a lot of our transport time got taken up with the regional transport plan as a really important region-wide piece of strategy work. But the year before, we had done quite a lot of work on the sustainable transport strategy, and I think in previous years even to that as well. So it's a good opportunity to revisit that work and then also look at some of the things that have happened in the intervening time. The context for that work is always really important. So I think we can ensure that we have got the most up-to-date briefing on the metro when those two opportunities come around. And we've deliberately put in the two markers with just the quite broad heading of sustainable transport strategy, with the opportunity then for members to kind of give us a steer on, well, which bits of this strategy are we particularly interested in? I know there's been a lot of interest in EV charging, for example. We'd probably definitely want to have a look at that. So that's the thinking there. In terms of Blue Eden, I think, Jeff, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, I will do. Thank you, Councillor Evans. I'd have to take that away and speak to colleagues on the legal side of things in terms of what we could bring to this group, bearing in mind the fact this is an open session, a public session, and I think the commercial nature of the relationship with DS2, who are the proposed developer or the partner in the scheme, is such that there's NDAs going around as well. So it probably wouldn't be appropriate. Happy to either come to an STC or a scrutiny and closed session to give an update, but probably not an open session. It probably wouldn't be appropriate, but I can confirm that with legal colleagues.
There we are. If we take that as an action to take away, then and we'll take advice on how best to how best to handle that one. Thank you very much for the suggestions. Are there any further? Sorry, David, I think you were joining as I was opening the floor to comments, suggestions and questions about the work plan. You're on mute.
My apologies. The artificial intelligence which interferes with my signing in every time I sign in. Copilot wants to be really helpful, but is incredibly irritating. As our brief exchange by email, it's just difficult to comment on the items that are in there till you know what the detail is behind them. So until we've seen the detail behind them, I don't really have any comments.
Would it be helpful then if I did just do a quick run through, just very briefly, of I think what some of the suggested areas of focus would be under each of these items, and perhaps leap in. Officers leap in if I'm getting it wrong, or if there's anything you want to add, but members leap in with questions or comment as we go along. So starting then with the suggestions for the July meeting. So we've got artificial grass position statement. So this is follow-up work from work that we did in the last municipal year, where we talked about the concept of having such a position statement. There was widespread support for us going down this route, and Penny, who's on the call, would bring a draft statement to us for comment, to make sure that that kind of reflects the views of committee as they were expressed when we last discussed it. Have I got that broadly right, Penny? Yeah, lovely. Commemorative Woodlands follows the notice of motion that was agreed at council some time ago around commemorative woodlands for those who've served in the armed forces. Some work has been done to look at options for actually implementing that notice of motion since it's been passed, and this item would bring those options again for committee to give its views on which it thinks we should pursue. The work, moving on to September then, the work around the adaptation and mitigation strategy is follow-on work from the last municipal year, to actually look at the strategy itself. My suggestion as chair is that the committee time is focused on how the committee can support with the implementation of that strategy, so making it happen. It is a PSB, so Public Service Board's strategy, so our opportunity to actually influence the letter of the strategy would be limited, although probably not non-existent. But if we did focus on how we actually, use Swansea Council resources to the best of our ability to make that strategy come to life, then I think that could be a really worthwhile discussion. And then we've also got a suggested item there around local nature reserves. We have got an all-member briefing on local nature reserves scheduled for the 18th of June, which I would recommend everybody attend if you're available. There is quite a substantial proposal to expand the local nature reserves designated in the Swansea area to go some way towards meeting our 30 by 30 target. Following the all-member briefing, it may be that this committee thinks that there are issues raised in that briefing that we may want to discuss in further detail in terms of the implementation of the proposal. Or it may be that the all-member briefing answers everybody's questions, and that actually when we review the work plan next month or in 6 weeks' time, we think actually that's covered. But at the moment, the suggestion is that it comes here for just that further detailed discussion before going through to Cabinet. As I've said, we've got 2 items one in October, one in February on the sustainable transport strategy. That is revisiting work from not last year, the year before. It gives us opportunity to look at a number of different issues, including EV, as I mentioned, but also how staff are travelling to work, grey fleet, all sorts of different things covered in that. So we would very much welcome, whether it be now or between now and those meetings, suggestions from committee members on areas of focus. The biophilic city status is looking at basically celebrating and marking all of the work that we do with regards to nature and connecting people to nature in the city. And there's an opportunity there really for committee to again look at, well, how do we make sure that this means something in practice? We've got the green infrastructure strategy suggested there, which again we have looked at before in terms of the current city centre strategy. That is quite a chunky item, I think, so that's why it's been put in as an item on its own for that meeting. We've got a gap in December, which can be filled by revisiting one of the areas that we want to go into in more detail, or by any of your suggestions that come up in this meeting. We wanted to make sure there was room for those suggestions to be incorporated. And then last but not least, we've got the LDP, which again is revisiting, well, not revisiting, but looking at the next stage of the process for the local development plan. We looked at it at the end of last year with a focus on the environmental and sustainability aspects of the LDP. Following all the consultation and the various stages that it has to go through, we've been advised by the team that February would be a good time for it to come back to the STC for any further input that it wishes to have on that. And then we've got the waste strategy, which is about the move to reusable containers and potentially looking at additional recycling streams. Again, work that the committee has already been progressing, and looking basically to further progress that as and when it is possible to do so. I've cantered through that. Has that inspired any questions or comments or suggestions? I will sit awkwardly in silence until somebody else speaks. Councillor Baker.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. The artificial grass position on the statement, I remember we'd done it in this group. We could take this a lot further than just Swansea. I was thinking once they know Swansea have latched onto this, other cities may latch on to about the artificial grass, because I know a lot of people have got them in their front garden. During a hot summer, it can burn your bottom of your feet, and they don't realise until the child have burnt their feet. And it's bad for the environment. Still, people think artificial grass is better than normal grass, because my child don't get dirty. We got to get this information out. Though it's bad for the environment, there are other issues that come with artificial grass. And we need like young family groups to understand this, because I notice it's mainly the younger generation are laying it in their gardens.
Yeah, at risk of us doing the item today that is scheduled for July, I'm sure we all agree with the comments that you've made there, Councillor Baker, and that is in fact why we have said, yes, we would very much welcome a position statement to come to committee next time. In terms of liaising with other local authorities that are potentially looking at something like this, I'm sure, you know, Penny, you might be able to brief us when you bring the item next time. But yeah, it sounds like you're very supportive of us progressing that in committee time in July.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Good. Okay. Do I take the silence as a general agreement with the work plan as it is presented to you? Notwithstanding the suggestions that Chris has made, that we will go away and look at how we can incorporate. Yes? Okay, right then. In that case, that is the last. Oh, I've got right. Just to remind councillors that the work plan is a live document. We look at it every single time we meet. So if it occurs to you next week or next month, or indeed in 6 months' time, oh, we should really look at this, please do approach me with that item, because yeah, we're always open to those suggestions. The last item on the agenda is the dates of our upcoming meetings. We have traditionally held this meeting at 3 o'clock to try and be done by the end of the working day. So are members still happy with that? 3 o'clock meeting time? Yeah, okay, great. And the dates are in the diary. Yeah, our terms of reference say that we meet every 6 weeks, so that's what those dates are. And with that, I will draw this meeting to a close. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance. Bye.
Sorry, Chairman, you didn't.
Thank you. Bye.
Sorry, Councillor Phillips. Yeah, go ahead.
As I said, I'm having problems at my end with this uncurable thing about sound. I abstained on the work plan issue, just for the record.
Okay, I don't know that I don't need to take a formal vote, do I? Or because it's yeah, I haven't it'll be noted in the minutes, but I haven't taken a formal vote because as I said, I want to have that ongoing opportunity really for committee members to suggest items, and it remains a live document. So and without being able to have the information to hand on the suggestions from Councillor Evans, I think we need to consider those as well and perhaps bring the work plan back next time. So yes, but noted, David, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.